Hi everybody, it is Stacey Calder here, and as usual I am in the Business Success Network studio, but unusually I always have very special guests, but I haven't had this guy in yet. So I am really excited, and I'm going to bring him in to waffle with me for half an hour, and we have promised that it will be half an hour because we know we can talk.
You know it's going to be like 45 minutes, right?
Oh look, we can play oh sorry, I'm just playing with frames now.
See, I do that as well. It annoys Jesse because I have controls of StreamYard, and he just sits there going, I can't do anything. So
see, now you're going to have to explain who Jesse is for those that don't know who Jesse is. You should probably explain who you are first as well.
I don't know. I think Jesse's more important. Maybe I should do that first. Okay, I'm Paul Newton. I own a company called Mental Theft, and I own a podcast called Newton's Nuggets. Both things are far too much fun. I'm a magician and mind reader. I steal personal information to wind people up and scare the bejesus out of them. I break into buildings because I find it funny, normally because I'm asked to. And the podcast is me and guests that are just awesome, really. And Jesse, he's literally the main man. He's the one who makes me look good. He's a photographer, a designer. He does all the editing stuff. He basically, Newton's Nuggets, if it wasn't for Jesse being involved, Newton's Nuggets would all be down to me and probably be broken.
And you say about broken, I am listening. I am just sharing this onto I was going to share it onto our timelines. But
do you know what? I thought you were going, Paul's off on one. I'll just play Candy Crush. Hold on.
No, I was actually trying to tag you in so that it's shared on your newsfeed. However, it will not let me. So I'm gonna share it and then hope that you will share it later on.
Don't you love technology? I mean,
not really.
It's just, the amount of time I had something the other day that was nice and easy in the world of editing, and for some reason it just went completely wrong. And I'm sat there going, why has this gone wrong? This shouldn't have gone wrong. But and literally we switched over to a buddy's machine, all set up exactly the same, and he went, look, there's the tick box there. It's really easy. No.
But it's that thing, isn't it? So I do a lot of social media, as you know, and now apparently that means that I'm really good at tech in other people's eyes. You know, I will have requests of, can you build me a website? Now, if Chris Dawes, the website guy expert, is watching, he will know I should not be left with websites, let alone build one for somebody else. So, yeah, I am a big technophobe. If I need something doing, I have to say I have a tech department. It's called the experts that are within the network, because I don't do it.
I don't do tech. I love using tech. I love tech when it works. As soon as it doesn't work, it's somebody else's problem. Get somebody else involved, because I'm just going to break it or throw it out a window.
Absolutely. Same here.
Morning, Rick. I just saw Rick Nutley say good morning. Morning.
We were just talking about you, Rick Nutley, in the background. I won't say what was said. No, I was just chuckling. So Rick,
I didn't say hello to Simon. Simon, hello.
Simon's probably got his head in his hands now, cursing, because he is like the ultimate tech geek. And we've just been sat here moaning about tech.
Simon, if my company ever gets really profitable, I might hire you. It'll just be easier.
So Simon is our web app guy. He does all amazing things with apps. So when Newton's Nuggets needs an app, you know where to go. But I can't. Right. So you were doing your little introduction. I know. Look, I've just blown his mind. He's now thinking Jesse is going to kill me, isn't he? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Let's get on that.
I'm going to tell Jesse this is all your fault, and it's all recorded, so I can prove it. See.
Most people blame me. #blame Stacey.
Is this going to go to that? No.
It's Stacey and Paul. What could possibly go wrong? There will be listeners that just listen to you say, you know, I've got a podcast, I've got this, I steal stuff, and they'll be going, what? So I can't just brush over that, because I've heard you speak quite a few times now. You've made me cry on several occasions.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was a good talk.
It was a very good talk. But what I love about your talks is I've seen the same one 2 or 3 times, and they're never the same.
No.
Because you always talk, you know, you always speak from the heart and stuff like that. But I'm guessing there are going to be people listening that don't know you, and
What?
they want to know. Yeah, I know what. How is this possible? So two things. A, they're going to get to know you because you are now a business success expert.
I can't believe I got through that.
Welcome to the team. We are waiting on the bio, so he is not yet on the website, but
That's a good point. I'll ask Jesse again.
He'll probably steal a bio from somewhere, right?
It's a great idea. I could just nick Chris Dawes' bio.
Go to web designer suddenly.
Right. Yeah.
So, you talked about stealing stuff for people.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
What's the biggest thing you've ever stole?
The biggest thing I can publicly say.
Oh, I know it's like NDAs everywhere, but it's okay. This is only live on the page, in the group, and on YouTube. That's only 3 places. Oh, my God.
So it's only 3 people. Right, so it's only 3 people that will know, and we're 2 of them. So there's only so it's us 2 and Rick.
Don't look at how many people are watching live then.
The one. Right, I really am going through my head and trying to decide which ones I'm allowed to.
Tell you what, okay, I know you can't mention names because you're getting okay. How big was it? Was it like?
Let's say on this one, size doesn't matter, but value does. It was about that by about that by about that, and it was a gold color.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not going to say where it was taken from because then I would definitely get sued.
Yes, no, don't do that. But so, guys, this is what I'm saying. Like, I love it. I love the fact that you can't tell us stuff because it's like,
yeah, and nice. There are some clients that let me tell stories.
You can read out his comments. He's just putting, is there no reference process for these experts? He's stolen the heart of thousands. And for those tuning in now, which I'm guessing was the bit where you were doing.
Yeah. that. Look, that's so fun. That's so bad. I recorded last night. I recorded the end parts of a podcast where I'm interviewing this lovely lady called Stacey Calder, and it's so fun. The things that me and Jesse talked about in the end, it's just like no.
What's that gone?
Yeah.
Oh no, because you do a bit at the end, don't you? Together.
Yeah. We talk about you behind your back, and you only hear it if you actually listen to the podcast.
Of course, I'm going to listen to it.
I know. Rick, just to go back on one of your questions there, Rick. For me, it's the curry sauce. I love that on nuggets, or the barbecue sauce. There you go.
See, I'm a sweet and sour girl.
Oh, there's so many good choices.
Talking a well-known brand of nuggets, not your nuggets, because
Yes, I was talking a well-known brand that gives you little tubs of sauce.
Yeah, sweet and sour all the way.
And do you know what? If you're nice to the person that's giving you that food, because my daughter loves the barbecue sauce like nuts. All you have to do is talk to them nicely, use a little bit of social engineering, and you end up with a bag of sauces. It's so easy. And that wasn't even stealing.
All the ones that they fail to give you when you ask for them.
See? And it's the way you word it. If you say something cheeky like, do you know what? Can I have all of the curry sauces that were meant to be given out today but got forgotten? And they go, yeah, okay. And they just throw like 30 into a bag and give them to you. So
not only is it mental theft, then it's curry sauce theft as well.
Yeah. Why not? Do you know what? They make more than enough money that the sauces don't matter. And if you have a family member that really likes certain sauces, I mean, she keeps them for chicken burgers that we cook at home and things like that. Why not?
I love that. Paul's golden nuggets of today is go and ask for more sauce.
Still more sauce. Hashtag still more sauce.
Crystals, don't rewind it, please. You were mentioned.
Oh, Chris, we worked out, right, that I can't be bothered to write a bio fully because Stacey's already told me off for one. So I'm just going to nick yours. I'll just change the web developer bit to weirdo in a trilby. We'll be good.
I love the fact that both Rick's saying, for those tuning in now, Crystals is like, I have no idea what I've tuned into. So last week we were talking with Simon Clements about creative design. we had Helen
That was
Donnelly.
really good. That was really informative and really helpful. And then today you get curry sauce.
We get curry sauce. These are the things that people need to know, and I'm sure, like I say, it was probably my fault for saying what have you pinched and stuff. And I'm trying to be really and not say stuff because I obviously don't want to get you into trouble either. So
Well,
isn't it funny that Rick says you could edit this into a very 18+ clip? Now I have to say, when I came on your podcast, I said one word, and before I said it, and I won't say what it is unless you want to. I said, "Am I allowed to say this?" And I just said it anyway. And it wasn't a swear word as such.
No.
It did throw the whole podcast into pretty much disrepute.
We ended up talking about sex pests. We ended up talking about the GIMP masks. We ended up talking about, I think there was handcuffs mentioned at one point. Either that or me and Jesse talked about handcuffs later. But yeah, it was just.
I think that was you and Jesse.
That was probably me and Jesse. That probably wasn't recorded. I probably shouldn't have said that because Jesse will tell me off. But yeah, it was funny. It was such a brilliant. And
what was strange is that because you said to me, well, I'd said to you beforehand, what am I bringing? What are we talking about? And you said, we're just going to have a chat, which is what I've done today. But bring a golden nugget. So I was thinking of, business head on. What do I talk about? I talk about visibility. So I'm going to bring a top tip that's about visibility. And actually, we talked about none of that stuff throughout the whole podcast. So when it came to giving my nugget, I sat there and I thought, this makes absolutely no sense as to why I'm talking about visibility now, because we've talked, as you said, we talked about time, we talked about family, we talked about busy, lots of different things. I won't give it all away. But we did not talk about like people visibility and assets and all that stuff.
No.
Which is brilliant, actually, because I loved being on your podcast and I loved having a chinwag with you.
And do you know what we've had? Right, so we've had podcast virgins be guests on there. We've had people that have done loads of podcasts. Yeah, I just put that in just for when Rick Notley edits this. He just gets a nice little soundbite there. And what we've had from almost every guest, though, is we've loved being on here. We've absolutely loved being here and just having fun. And you know what? The feedback I'm getting from the listeners and the viewers is it's nice to see these people that we hold up in this high esteem anyway, because they are really good at what they do.
Anybody holds me in high esteem. If they know me, they'll know that I'm just the naughty one.
But yeah, you're then being seen as a real person that can have fun and you can chat to. And normally the feedback is, Paul, it's just like we're sat there and you guys are having a cup of tea or coffee and having a chat with us in the room. And that's kind of the feel that I want to get across.
And do you know what was lovely is we were talking and we were laughing and obviously you've got Jesse, your right-hand man. It kind of
there was one bit where I laughed so much I couldn't see.
He actually came off mute, didn't he? And he interrupted us, which apparently is not a done thing on your podcast.
He never does it, and I always try and prod him, and I always try and prod just to see if I can get him to come on and say something or tell me off or tell a guest off. Yeah, we nailed it. Me and you got him to unmute.
And you know what? I don't. You've had Chris Dawes on there. You've had numerous people on there, and we know that Chris Dawes' episode was absolutely epic. It was fantastic. So I know that I'm up there with some absolute legends. However, I got Jesse to speak, so I'll take that as a win.
This is it. You nailed it. You got Jesse to actually come off mute and talk. Chris Dawes, his episode, right? So the second time he came on, he was held in first position of podcast most downloaded over the whole time. He was holding first position on the first time that he came onto the show. People loved it. People loved how real he was. People loved the fact that he was just talking about him and what his business brings and why he wants to build up a business. And it was epic, okay? And then he came on the second time. There'd been some family challenges and there'd been some issues and there'd been some stuff going on. And I'm not going to say what it is because that's Chris's thing. But that episode shot up to first position. I think it was in its first week of going online. So Chris Dawes held first and second position of downloads over the whole time
He's
for
a good one, isn't
ages.
he?
Mate, it was brilliant. I mean, don't mention to him that somebody else has taken first position now.
No, I won't. I absolutely, we won't mention that at all. And like you say, it's only going out in 3-4 different places, so he might not even notice.
No, he won't notice. You know, he's far too busy to listen to some dodgy bloke.
Listen, and you're a bit like me. You go out there. I was going to say you're such a good guy. I'm not a good guy. That would be a bit weird. But you've just sat here for the first 15 minutes and pretty much promoted everybody else that is around you. Oh look, there's always one that rubs it in. Look, and then along came Charlotte. We're in trouble now. It was Rick.
And I tell you what, having Rick and Chris on the chat, that is just awesome timing. That is lovely.
I can feel the comments is just going to be Chris and Rick now.
It's just going to explode, isn't it?
Somebody else join in quick so we don't have a whole calamity going on in the comments. But anyway, going back to you, you've just spent 10 minutes kind of bigging up other people, your show. You don't often sing your own praises, I've noticed.
That's because
and when you're an entertainer and and I get it, you're kind of giving service to your crowds. Well, when it's not lockdown, and stuff. And I get that, because when you're like with me, social media, when you're working with somebody to get them more visible, it's entirely about them and their visibility. That's with you. It's you've got to make them laugh. You've got to make them whatever it is that. Even with your podcast, you're making your guests visible. And you're not shouting about yourself.
But it's right. I've been in the entertainment industry a long time, since I was a kid. So oh my word, right. First time I ever went on stage, I was probably 12, maybe 13.
Really?
First time I won a main part in a half decent production, I was about 16, and I only got the part because I may have been slightly drunk when I went into the audition.
I didn't think that's what you were going to say. I thought you were going to say you worked your charm on somebody. Well, that nicely like that, but
may help in the entertainment industry. And let's just say I looked a lot better when I was a late teenager. Okay, I didn't look like the bald bloke who didn't shave.
We love the bald bloke that doesn't shave with the hat on. We do.
I only do it for the compliment.
What got you into magic then? And entertaining.
Honestly, so I did a lot of musicals when I was younger. So when I was a late teenager, I was in a lot of musicals. I sang a lot of shows. I acted in a lot of shows. And I was doing an audition once. And this was an audition for a decent part in a decent musical. And I'm literally lined up. And I looked to my left, and there was just a queue that carried on of men that looked a lot like me, okay? I looked to my right, it's just a queue of men that looked a lot like me. And I'm looking at them and going, I'd lay a bet that most of these are better singers than me. I'd put my house on the fact that they're better dancers than me. What the hell am I doing? Every single day I'm putting myself up against hundreds, maybe thousands of people that I think are better than me. And oh my word, you have to learn a script. Stacey, you know me well enough to know I don't learn scripts, okay? I hate trying to read somebody else's written word. And it literally, I used to have to force myself to sit down and read these things until it was just so implanted that I didn't feel it was a script anymore. And then I'd been doing magic for ages. I'd been doing it kind of on the quiet. And I turned around to a pub that I knew and I said, look, if I come in and do some magic for an hour or two, would you pay me for it? And they went, yeah, we'll give you 50 quid to come in and do an hour. Now, at that time, 50 quid to do an hour, and they said £50 plus you can have drinks free for the night.
That's more than 50 quid's worth, surely.
Exactly. So I when they said that, I was like, mate, that's worth more than the 50 quid. Yes, I'll do that. I was hammered. But I realised when I'm stood in that queue, looking at these people doing something that the entertainment world is weird. You put yourself out there to get shot down almost every single day. And then I was like, or I could do magic tricks that I find really fun and people pay me 50 quid for an hour. If I did 5 of them a week, that's 250. That's better than being a waiter while I'm trying to get gigs. And that was it. I started doing little jobs all over the place. Got myself known as a magician a bit more. I've always had jobs alongside the magic. But then nearly 12 years ago, we'd just bought the house, so I still had a steady job. I had the magic on the side. We'd just bought the house. Little one's just been born. She's like 4 months old. Yeah, 6 months old-ish.
So you're not sleeping?
No, there's hardly any sleep, and that's probably why I got away with this. My wife wasn't sleeping and her brain wasn't working too well. But I turned around to the wife and I said to her, look, I'm getting so fed up with my job. It keeps me away from the home. And the magic is time consuming as well. That keeps me away at weekends. I'm going to ditch the magic and just concentrate solely on the job, prove to them how amazing I'm at. It's 2008, so that big recession hit us. And I'm like, look, they're making redundancies. And if I get made redundant, we're screwed for the house and I don't know what we're going to do and blah, blah, blah. And we're going through this. And Kat turned around to me and she went, you do realise you earn about as much from magic as you do from a proper job. And I was like, yeah, but if I concentrate on the job, I can build it up and we can have more earnings. And she went, no. She goes, you're thinking about it the wrong way round. You want to look at it as, why don't you just work the 2 days a week and be at home 5 days? I was like, are you saying quit the job? And she went, yeah, it's stressful. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of hours. You put in a lot more hours to it than everyone will ever realize. And what bits do you love about it? And I was like, well, I like the company car. And she went, right. So you buy yourself an old banger for a couple of grand. You drive that into the ground. You take a year out of having a proper job and seeing if you can build the magic. And the weird thing was, at that time, when a recession was hitting, I was seeing other magicians saying, oh, I'm going to give up. I'm going to get a proper job. I'm going to do this. She was right. We had enough money in the bank to chance it for a year. When everyone else went scared because they thought nobody's going to pay money on entertainment, I put my prices up. I pushed it and pushed it. I was even part of 4N back then and told everyone there, and people just threw it across the network that I needed more work. And it just went nuts. I started doing exhibition stands and bringing crowds around exhibition stands because I'm doing magic tricks. I then started using some of my salesman skills while I'm at exhibition stands and finding out who is a really good lead and a really good prospect for the person who's booking me on the stand. And I'm literally going, oh my word, you need, Rick's a good example. You need promotional materials? No way. I tell you what, if you come this way, I'll introduce you to Rick. He'll talk to you about the promotional materials that you might need. And I've already found out that this guy's in charge of the budget. So I've literally just put a buyer and a seller right next to each other while I'm doing magic tricks. And it just took off. It really did. So I can proudly say that I haven't had a job for over 12 years.
Which is brilliant. And I'm 11 years this year self-employed. So like you say, though, so many people out there want to do it, don't they? They want to go self-employed. And I'm really chuffed that Mrs. N, God love her, she puts up with some voice notes from me. I love Mrs. N, and I've never met her. I've seen her on a screen once, but yes, hello, Mrs. N. If you're watching, I'm sure you won't be.
I think she's trying to convince the dog to stop barking at me at the moment.
I speak to so many people whose partners, whose family, they say to them, "I'm going to go self-employed. I've got this idea. I'm going to start this business," and they go, "Don't be stupid." In all honesty, my dad, now don't get me wrong, I always call him my neg ferret because he is like the voice of reason, the negative voice on my shoulder. He's like a little ferret. Anyway, he still to this day says, when are you going to get a proper job? He has no idea what I do. No idea. I just dick about on Facebook, which, is kind of right, I suppose. Yeah,
it's an understandable description.
But how lovely that she actually, absolutely changed the future of and I'm so pleased she did, because we got to see all your magic.
So
how did that develop then into stealing people's stuff and what you're doing now?
So I developed as a magician and went into the mind reading field more and more, and I love that. I love being on stage, and I would always try and pick on the alpha male or female out of a big group, because if I get them on stage and do mind reading on them, then their whole group just goes, "What the hell?" They wouldn't have helped, and it's far too much fun. And I was at a military gig. Can't say where, but can say military. And I'm doing mind reading stuff, okay? And I'm doing close up stuff. And I go to this one table, and this one bloke is so arrogant and rude, it's unbelievable. And he's trying to have a pop at me every like 10 seconds. And it got to the point, there's different levels of hecklers. There's the ones who just want to join in, and you can have a bit of laugh with them. There's the ones who want to be on stage, and normally I'll grab them and I'll get them on stage, and I'll do some tricks with them. And they walk away going, "Oh my word, what just happened?" And then there's the arrogant, rude ones who are just trying to put you down. Now, the stupid thing is, they still try this on a seasoned entertainer. Why? Okay, we've done this already. But this guy just kept going and kept going. So I thought, right, I'm going to have you. So while I'm doing close-up stuff, I started doing mind reading on him. I stole his PIN number, his password, his username for his computer, the first road he grew up on, his mother's maiden name, and the name of his first pet dog. Okay? All information that doesn't really matter, especially if you're quite high up in the military. That wouldn't be important at all, would it? So I did this because I found it funny. Okay? And then at the end of my little set at the table, I gave him a card, and I'd written down all of this information on the back of it, and I went, "Look, mind reading's not real. You've been telling everyone that it's not real and it's not possible. Have a look at this. Tell me how I did." And he's looked at this back of this card, and a load of expletives just came out of his mouth. He went white, his jaw dropped. And then I said, "Right, don't tell your friends exactly what I've written, but tell them what type of information and if I'm right." And he said, "The list that I just gave you." And he said, and he's 100% spot on. And I'm like, "Ladies and gents, I'm Paul Newton. I'm an annoying bloke. I've got to go entertain some other people." So I walked away. He then chased me, and he grabbed my shoulder and he said, "Look, I need to have a word with you." And I was like, "Okay, now, Stacey, you've heard this story in a private environment. I can't say exactly what he said when this is going out public. That is one that I really cannot touch." But he worded it along the lines of, "If this is real, if your skill is real, just imagine how many security issues you could create. Just imagine how many companies you could break into and they wouldn't even know you've broken in. Just imagine how many systems you could be within, and even the admin don't know you're there because you're using a real username and password." And it kind of made me just sit down and just go, he's right. If I can do this stuff while I'm warning you I'm going to do it, what can scammers do while they're trying to stay hidden? And that's what I warn people about. Mental theft. I go around and I steal stuff. And I get contracted by people to steal their stuff to test their security. I've got a book out now because I got so annoyed with the fact that people needed my help but couldn't afford to get me in for a day. Buy a book for like 15 quid and it will help you loads. And then Newton's Nuggets happened because of COVID, and that's just fun. That is just fun, to be honest with you.
Well, you mentioned your book then. I'm really pleased you did. I've got a copy. I've got a signed copy. So I am like, and I said to you, didn't I? I'm not ordering one until you promise me it's going to get signed. I got a signed copy there.
Yeah, you did.
But and I get that we can't, it's military stuff. Obviously, we can't talk about it. But you're right. You think you are in a military surrounding, and one of them has cottoned on exactly what you've just done and the repercussions of it, which is it's just a beautiful way for you to kind of start a business and go, yeah, okay, let's start showing people how they can get ripped off. Now, my husband was got scammed a few years ago now, and it's not nice, and it makes you feel really sick to the stomach, because we are not stupid people. We're silly, not stupid. And he was absolutely taken for a ride, let's just say. In which case, I would normally have killed him. Actually, I genuinely felt sorry for the guy. So Stacey Calder did not do her usual wifey knows best kind of thing. It was just like, but it was annoying and devastating, and annoying that the bank are now emptied. However, I wish I'd have known you back then. Believe me, your book is brilliant. I've read it. I love it. It really helps. Like you said, if people can't afford to get you in, and this is why I wanted you to become one of the business success experts, because I've seen you help others. I've done it to you before. I've screenshot something and go, look at this scam. Jamie asked me yesterday, he'd got one from the, this is HSBC. There's something gone wrong with your whatever. And I'm like, yeah. And it comes from an 078 number. It's not HSBC. I said, you with HSBC.
Right. Be careful there, because it's really easy for the scammers to spoof where the text comes from. So it could look like it's come from HSBC. Now, weirdly, I got that one yesterday.
Are available.
Yeah, other banks are available. But I got that one yesterday from HSBC. And then you look at the web address they're trying to send you to, and it's got nothing to do with HSBC. Yeah. And also, I have never banked with HSBC.
And that's what I said to him. But I suppose at the minute, because of all the kind of the bounce back loans that are going on, all the COVID stuff, there'll be some people that have got bridging loans with them. There'll be some people that are thinking, is this a government thing? I had it the other day. I had something from the government. Well, it wasn't from the government, obviously. But there is so many scams out there. I remember the first time I heard you talk, you did a list of like 30, and that was before COVID. Yeah. So, we could sit here and we've done it. Look, we're 31 minutes. We said we'd be on it for half an hour.
I was aiming for 45.
Okay, well, at least if we shut up then in the next 14 minutes, we're good, yes?
Yeah, we're okay. Yeah.
Fine, because if we need to cut it, we can just cut it now. He's like, right. No, I want to talk. I knew it would be you. I said we'd stick to time. It's you.
I told you wouldn't.
Terrible.
You're right. The scammers are getting more intelligent, and they are ridiculously intelligent, and they treat this as a business. Okay, so anyone who has ever been scammed, look, I'll be blatantly honest with you. We've got to get away from there's a word and my brain's not telling me. We seem to be scared to admit we've ever been scammed. And the fact
and I'm saying this, I'm holding my hands up. Like I said, people. I've heard it. Are they stupid? No, you're not stupid.
No.
Like I said, no. And could I have looked at this website that he was talking about? Would I have noticed it was a scam? Probably not. They were really clever. They'd got a website. There was 5-star Google ratings. He spoke to a receptionist, so he called the number. There was everything it had. Absolutely everything.
Mate, there's document. The BBC did a great documentary recently about how this whole scam company is set up like a full-on proper business with offices, with MD, with board of directors, who are all sat there trying to figure out how to scam more money out of people on phone calls. They're intelligent. They're clever. If you've been done by a scam and you don't want to go public about it, please tell me. I'll add you into stories that I warn other people with, because the more people that admit they've been scammed, the more chance there is of everyone else going, actually, you know what? I wasn't expecting that email. So I'm just going to check it's real. For the cost of a phone call, I'm going to check it's really from that person.
Do you know what? That's a really good point, actually, Paul. And I'm going to use that as today's post in this group. So big group, over 1,000 people. Let's ask them. Let's ask the audience if they've ever been scammed. And let's hear it. It's a safe space. I don't particularly like that word. It's a Facebook group, but it's good ethos, good ethics, and it's got a great group of people in here. So if I'm going to put a post up in a bit, have you ever been scammed? Let's tell Stacey and Paulie,
awesome.
because and then you can drop your link to the book on there as well, because I do think.
Can I say hello to Dom and Gary as well, because they've come in and said it.
You can say hello to Dom and Gary, and let's face it, they love us apparently. So
apparently they do. I feel good about this. But yeah, seriously, if anyone sees that post or watches this and they're scared of saying anything in public, message me. Okay, if I can help you, I will. If I can put you in front of the right people to try and claim stuff back, I will. Something I'm absolutely disgusted by at the moment is the amount of banks that don't really seem to pull their socks up and do the right thing.
So I honestly, I can tell you when we got scammed, and it's a few years ago now, I contacted the bank, I contacted the fraud team. Obviously, it got passed to the fraud department with is it the Met Police, whatever that's called. It was all investigated, and yet it was me that was ringing the bank saying, hang on a minute, so I can see on my transactions that this has come out of my bank account into somebody's bank, that bank's within the same bank. So because they've got an account with you,
So hold on. So let's say you are banking
not to say the bank.
Yeah. So let's say you're banking with Joe Blogg's bank.
Yes.
Okay.
This money left
the scammer is also using Joe Blogg's.
Exactly. And yet there was nothing they could do, apparently.
Oh, what a load of rubbish.
So I got no money back. The police couldn't find out who it was. The bank didn't know. Now, this is me. I am quite fiery, especially when I've just lost $4,000 or whatever it was. So I am on the phone going, no, because you're a bank and you have checks to do. So anyone that opens an account, you have their details, right? Yes, of course, because otherwise you'd be breaking the law, right? Yes. Okay, so you have those details. Give them me. Give them the police. Give them somebody.
How can you not know who's got that?
So yes, there was a lot of swear words.
I've been part of a team trying to help someone. Now this is where people say, "Oh, you must have been thick to fall for that. You must have been there." The guy that I'm currently helping, he's multi-millionaire. I know quite a few of his businesses. He's done really well, and he's sharp as. Okay, he's one of the most intelligent people I've ever met, and he got done by an estate agency scam. So he was buying a property. This property is worth something like 5 million. The deposit is therefore, I think he put in about 750,000. Now the scammers had hacked his emails at some point, and they were watching the email transaction between the estate agent and him. They waited for the perfect moment, and then they came in with an email saying, "Look, just wondering why this hasn't been done. The seller is now looking at giving it to somebody else because you've taken 2 days on this. Either put the deposit in this bank account ASAP, or they're probably going to go with the other buyer. Just letting you know as a courtesy." So he wanted the property. He went and did the deposit, 750K. Gone. Now that scam, it's gone. It's in another country. It's not traceable. It's probably turned into Bitcoin and back a few times over. Okay. But the example you gave, when Joe Blogg's bank gave the money to Joe Blogg's bank and then turned around and went, "Oh, we don't know who it is." Of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course you do. If I mess up a payment somewhere and get charged from it by my bank, their 30 quid charge, they'll happily chase me for that.
Oh yeah, of course they will. Absolutely.
But they're not after the scammer who's done you out of 4 or 5 grand. How?
Yeah. That was my and it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like it's a sore subject in our house, so we just don't talk about it anymore. So Jamie, if you're watching this, apologies, I've just talked about it for a good 10 minutes.
Yeah, sorry, Jamie. But also, I love that you happily pointed out a scam has happened within your house.
Oh. Do you know what, though? It makes you more alert now. Like, he knows. He's like, do you want to check this email? Do you want to check this? And actually, 2 eyes are better than one. And if I was unsure about it, I would come to you or, but not everyone has access to you. I get that, although you've just very kindly said, look, get in my inbox. That's fine. But I think that's a really good thing, isn't it? If you're unsure, ask. Like, I've done it before with my technology company. I've had emails and I've said to their CEO, before I knew you, is this legit? Is this, I've had PayPal ones. PayPal, all the time you get PayPal ones, right? And
Netflix ones are big now as well because so many people are at home watching Netflix.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Right.
One more example. One more, and then I promise I'll shut up. Okay. I had a guy come up to me, quite an arrogant guy, highly intelligent guy, and he told me, and Jesse was there when this conversation happened, it was just funny. He came up to me after one of my talks and he went, "Well, I've never been scammed. Obviously, you have to be thick to fall for these things." And then it went into my, actually, no, you don't. They're really intelligent. And while we're having the conversation of him trying to say how everyone must be thick who's been scammed, he then said, "Well, I did find a transaction worth £25 per month that had been going on for 6 years. And I don't know who they are, so I've cancelled it. But I've never been scammed." What? £25 per month
For 6 years.
For 6 years. That's 300 quid a year. That's £1,800. You've been scammed out of nearly £2,000, and you're stood here telling me that you've never been scammed and only thick people get scammed. Really?
And actually, that is, if you look at it in a certain way, that's more clever than scamming someone out of £5,000, because that's like, if you're doing 25 quid a month for 3 years to 1,000 people that just think, oh, it'll be something. How many of us have direct debits going out that are, 12 quid life insurance, and you just think, oh yeah, the direct debits. If another one snuck in, 25 quid a month, you just think, oh, it's whatever it is. My husband will tell you I am a nightmare. Something comes out the bank and I'm like, who's just bought this on PlayStation Network? Who's just done this on Netflix?
My Xbox alerts me.
Are you telling me I can't spend money? And I'm like, no, I'm just checking, because I am.
If you spent it, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
If it's a scammer, I'm having them. And right, so the magic number now,
and I'm a bit like, come on, what are they spent? You've got to be careful, haven't you?
You've got to. And the magic number now is, watch out for direct debits that are around about £7 or £8. Okay, because the scammers know that there's a I nearly swore then. There's a level where we don't care too much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so again, exactly the example you said. But if that amount is only £7 per month, and let's say I put on the description something like TV services or Netflix or something like that, to try and piggyback off of something that you probably do already pay for.
Yeah.
Okay, like you said, if I get 1,000 of them, I'm on £7,000 a month. That's not a bad scam.
No, and I suppose if one cancels, like you said, it's £7. Just go and find 10 more people to scam. And
this is it, mate. The ways they've set things up, it wouldn't surprise me if they hear me saying 1,000 a month, and they're going, "We don't go that low. Why would we go that low?" They're after the 100,000 of those a month, and it's an automated business.
And do you know what? What I love about this network is you can start to talk to people. And like you said, I love networking. I'm a connector of people. I'm all about community. And you're sat here telling me this, and I'm like, oh, you need to meet Nish. Nish is our cybersecurity expert. So he's talked to me about, he was on the cover. He was one of my very first cover stars. And he was talking about, the dark web, and how he actually now has a ethical hacker who will run workshops with him, and they will show people how that they get hacked, so that and honestly, you two could do I'd just be mind blown. Mind blown. You could do some amazing stuff together. Let's make that happen.
Awesome, we can do that. Should I shut up now? Have I told you we'd go past half hour.
1 minute, 28 seconds left, Paul. Do you know what I love? I love the fact we've done saucy, we've done a bit naughty, we've done silly, but actually we've ended on some really serious kind of amazing stuff today. And I didn't even get you to do a magic trick.
I don't even know if I've got a magic trick.
I wasn't saying it to get you to do one, but
we've got we've got a minute.
Right. 1 minute and 3 seconds.
The elastic bands. I know you've seen. I'll try and do this twice. So we got 2 elastic bands. We put one behind the other like that, so they're definitely trapped behind each other. Okay. I always check them twice because people don't trust me very much. But when you rub them, one goes through the other.
I've seen it, but I just. Oh, guys, listen, I could talk to Paul Newton all day. Paul, apart from the Business Success Experts webpage, when you write that bio, just thought I'd get that in there.
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
You can look at mentaltheft.co.uk or newtonsnuggets.com. There you go. It's as easy as that.
Or
Mental theft.
tag in Jesse Lawrence because he'll find you. He'll hunt you
Yeah,
down. And find you.
find Jesse. No, he's got a proper job. Don't make him work in the daytime. That's not
No,
fair.
don't. Okay, we won't. Right, 7 seconds to go. Paul, you have been an absolute treat this morning. Like I said, I could talk to you all day, but I have got to go and do some proper work now because Chris Dawes is shouting at me to get website stuff done.
I'll go write a bio.
You're going to write a bio. I'm going to not get scammed. I'm going to drop that post in the group now. Drop your links on here so everybody can see you. And a very, very thank you. See, I kind of
Very thank you.
very thank you. Muchly grateful.
Thank you for letting me come on here, mate.
That's not a problem. Guys, if you are watching this on YouTube or on the Business Success Network and Magazine Facebook page, do come along and enter the Business Success Network Facebook group. It's a fantastic community full of absolute experts and legends like Paul Newton here. That way. Right. Have a great Tuesday.